Max will be sharing how leveraging AI not only optimizes operations, but fundamentally can improve the customer shopping experience, which is what it's all about.
Sun Valley Tech, like these guys are doing hundreds of millions of pounds across the EU, and I was kind of directly managing them.
And this episode is packed with insights that could redefine how you manage your online store.
Really focused on bringing kind of this revolution of AI to the e-commerce world.
For those looking to stay ahead in the game of e-commerce, checking out ecomtent might just be your next best move.
It was really obvious to me how transformational it will be. I guess what surprised me is how quickly everyone picked up on it.
Welcome to the Dropship Unlocked Podcast. I'm Lewis Smith, the founder of Dropship Unlocked, and with me is our client success coach, James Eardley. Now, when we're not recording the podcast episodes, we're running our own e-commerce businesses and helping aspiring entrepreneurs launch their own high-ticket dropshipping businesses. Keen to build your own 6 or even 7-figure business? My book, The Home Turf Advantage, is your blueprint for launching a profitable online store. Grab your copy at htabook.com today and let's get you started. Now sit back, relax, and let's unlock your potential with the Dropship Unlocked podcast. Today on the Dropship Unlocked podcast, we are diving into the world of AI and e-commerce with a very special guest, Max Sinclair, who is the brains behind ecomtent.ai. Max brings a wealth of experience from his extensive time at Amazon, where he spearheaded initiatives like Amazon Business in the UK and Amazon Grocery in the UK. But now he's transforming e-commerce catalog management with ecomtent.ai, enabling seamless integration of AI to enhance product listings for your Shopify store.
That's right. It's a very exciting time at the moment to watch how AI is revolutionising e-commerce. So whether you're just starting out in e-commerce or perhaps you're looking to scale your existing operations, then this episode is packed with insights that could redefine how you manage your online store.
Yep, so today Max will be sharing how leveraging AI not only optimizes operations, but fundamentally can improve the customer shopping experience, which is what it's all about. So in this conversation, we'll uncover ecomtent.ai and how it first started. We'll explore how AI is reshaping e-commerce today, and we'll even get a sneak peek at some real-world success stories of businesses that have thrived by integrating these advanced technologies into their business. So let's do it. Let's jump right into our conversation with Max.
Today, we're excited to be joined by Max Sinclair. So Max is the founder and CEO of ecomtent.ai. So ecomtent is the next generation of catalogue management for our e-commerce businesses. It enables sellers to generate product listings, including product lifestyle images, infographics, and optimized copy, and list across different marketplaces. So prior to founding ecomtent, Max spent over 6 years working at Amazon, and he held a number of leadership roles, including for the launch of Amazon Business, so B2B, in the UK, at Amazon Grocery in the EU, and owning customer browse experience for the launch of Amazon in Singapore. So it is a real pleasure to be joined by Max today. Max, it's great to have you with us.
Good to be here. Thanks for having me, James. Excited to talk to you.
My pleasure. Yeah, there's so much we can bring to the guys listening today to build and grow their e-commerce businesses. So before we dive into AI-driven world of e-commerce with ecomtent, can you share with us a little bit about your story from Amazon and how you went from Amazon to founding ecomtent?
Sure. So as you mentioned, now I was at Amazon for 6 years. So joined on the graduate scheme in 2016, and I was there until 2022, kind of going through various different roles and teams. It was a fantastic experience. I worked a lot with, in the early years, worked a lot directly with sellers, and I guess about 2 years in or so, I was working with some of the largest sellers in the UK. So I was working with the likes of Anchor, Sun Valley Tech, like these guys are doing hundreds of millions of pounds across the EU, and I was kind of directly managing them. More on the Amazon side, obviously, working in Amazon, but all these guys sell kind of multi-channel, so they sell it across anything, and I just learned a lot from those guys. Fast forwarding a few years, my now co-founder showed me the first open source model of Stable Diffusion. So this is where you could type in some text and generate an image. And this was before ChatGPT. This was in September 2022. And I remember being like, wow, this is just insane, like such magic. And I said to him, could you put in a product into the image? And basically over the weekend, he built this demo where you could upload a photo of a product, type into the text, create a lifestyle image of that product. And that demo had all of the problems that people now associate with AI. It had all the hallucinations and kind of distortions and looked kind of weird, obviously, as I built over the weekend. But I guess from that, I could just see the potential. And you know, having such a kind of deep background in e-commerce, I was like, wow, this is just going to absolutely change the industry. So we basically both went full-time since that point. That was, in 2022. We're now recording this in 24. So it's been about 2 years. We've got the backing of eBay Ventures since then. We've worked with hundreds of e-commerce sellers across multiple channels and, really focused on bringing kind of this revolution of AI to the e-commerce world.
Yeah, I bet you saw the potential straight away. It's so important to advertise our products in the best way possible. So was it clear for you then when you were working at Amazon that you had stumbled across a big opportunity? And was it in your mind quite early on that you wanted to do this for yourself?
Well, I've always been an entrepreneur. So I say that like I started my first business when I was like 16, 17. I basically I won't go into the details, but I had my first business then. I've also been an online seller, probably not the same success as some of the guys listening, but I've experimented with that at various stages as well. But I kind of knew to myself that it wouldn't be a success unless I was all in. And it was very hard, I guess, to kind of dedicate all your time to something when you've got a full-time job. And I guess this technology shift, I would just like, this is like the start of the internet. If I don't do this now and commit, like it's never going to happen. And this is really like the once in a generation opportunity. It was really obvious to me how transformational it will be. I guess what surprised me is how quickly everyone picked up on it. Because I remember with our earliest customers, we were like, you have to prompt and then you create an image of your product. And that whole, like trying to explain to people how to use that, it was intuitive, but it was something they'd never seen before. And I guess when ChatGPT launched in November, suddenly everybody kind of understood it and knew it very, very quickly. And I guess that was really surprising just to see the rapid adoption of like prompting and AI technology, or Gen AI technology. I guess that helped us in some ways, but I guess it also meant that we had a lot more competition and Shopify trying to do stuff and Amazon. So like it kind of heated up the space, like, to 1,000 degrees, very quickly. But yeah, we were there a few months before. So, it was good. We got a little bit of a head start.
Yeah. And now you see AI, it's not the future of e-commerce. It is right now. People are really adopting AI to really get involved, but you were there quickly. So specifically for Shopify, and you mentioned it already, because the majority of our listeners will be building Shopify stores for their e-commerce businesses. How in particular do you think AI can be used for Shopify store owners?
Yeah, well, we've been experimenting a lot with this since day one, and we have this incredible technology, and we've been working out how is it practical and useful for now? And the answer is speed and scale. So this technology enables you to go a lot quicker and a lot greater scale and iterate multiple times. And that's kind of the beauty of it. It takes 20 seconds to generate an image, maybe less. Sorry, 20 seconds. If it really takes 20 seconds to generate a listing, maybe take 3 or 4 seconds to generate an image, infographics and text, and kind of then you have something which you can then publish directly to your Shopify. And then it's a case of monitoring, which we enable, and kind of seeing what's working, seeing what isn't, iterating, and doing this across your whole cast. And I think like the initial use case we saw is kind of people often have this 80-20s. I'm sure you do, James, as I know you're a seller, where you have kind of your top, your top 5% of products, which you really want to have extremely good quality photos of, and maybe hire copyright and all these things, which is great. But then you also maybe have your tail end where you're not going to kind of you don't have the time or the money to kind of invest in producing that kind of quality. And AI basically enables you to get what you're doing for that top 5% and scale that across the following 95% of your catalog.
Fascinating. It is definitely the way you say it's, the top 10% probably for me make up the 90% of sales that I make from 10% of the products. So how would AI know that, or do you tell the AI that these are the products that are really working and it can then work out why it's working?
So the way we have started to work at ecomtent is we integrate directly with your store. So we have the data on what is working, and we also have kind of very unique data in this world of like what Gen AI content works and what doesn't, because that's a slightly different thing. Like, what content should you be generating in terms of like an infographic, and like what is good across like a whole spectrum of people. And we've seen patterns in terms of what works well to increase conversion, which is obviously the focus that everyone wants to do, right? Like, you're landing on the page, how do you increase conversion with better listings and images and infographics? So we definitely, we're training, like we've actually patented our technology, and we're training models to optimize for this conversion. We're feeding in kind of keywords. So, a lot of Shopify owners will be trying to rank on Google. It's very important, right? So we're feeding in kind of the topics from Google for the listing generation, and also to a lesser extent the image generation, but also kind of optimizing in formats that we know work well. And the other thing we know is that behavior shifts and change over time, right? So like what worked well in 2021 probably doesn't work in 2024. So one of the big advantages we have is this kind of ability to continuously monitor and optimize as shift and, preferences change.
Yeah. You got to stay up to date with the world of e-commerce. It moves so quickly, what customers are looking for. So fascinating. It seems like there's sort of three main pillars for the content that your AI machines can create, if I'm right. So the copy on the page, the actual product photos, and the infographics that you create. So for some context, people that are running the e-commerce businesses that we teach, they'll sign with a supplier. So because we're drop shipping, we're not creating the products ourselves, and we'll be given some product descriptions, some product images, and probably no infographics. We don't tend to get supplied those by suppliers. How would we go from having that basic information that our suppliers give us to really learning what is going to perform best and improve our conversion rates with your AI tool?
Well, I think in terms of a dropshipping model, the AI is perfect, right? Because if you're never seeing the product and you're never doing your own photo shoot, you're going to have to rely on this. And the question is, are you going to hire someone on Fiverr or a freelancer to create some pretty mid, images and infographics and text? Or are you going to use an AI which gives you as a individual more control over what's generated because you can prompt? And secondly, you have the knowledge that it's built on a model which is continuously adapting and understanding what's working and modifying itself for conversion. So it's really like a no-brainer in the drop shipping model. To answer your question, we have the images, we have the infographics, we have the text. In terms of the infographics, we've noticed various kind of templates of infographics that work really well. I'll give you an example, like benefits infographics. So what are like the key 5 benefits that people have? And I here I can't talk about Shopify, but I can say in Amazon, people spend about 8 seconds on average on a listing, if that. And therefore, very often they're not even reading it, right? They're looking at the main image and then they're looking at the infographic images. I mean, and like, individuals listening to this who are consumers will know this, right? Like the last product you've bought online, how much time did you spend reading the text versus like, do the images have all of the information you need to make the purchase? And I would say 80% of the time, like those products, you're looking at the images and you're like, okay, I'm buying some coffee. Oh, okay, bang, bang, bang. I see all lovely infographics telling me what I need to purchase. Like, I don't even need to go through and read descriptions and whatnot. So it's really important to kind of highlight, the key benefits that are coming out, and stuff like, if you have lots of UK based customers and you're UK-based, stuff like, say, like UK-based business is really powerful here. Like, supporting UK business can really help with conversion. But just like, the 5 key benefits of the product. And then, yes, we also do text. Text, I guess, is more focused on like Google SEO, but it also helps to enrich and helps kind of like get people over the line with their purchasing decisions.
Yeah, fascinating. I completely agree. The dropshipping model, we won't come into contact with the products, especially with high ticket dropshipping. It won't make sense for us initially to outlay, potentially £1,000, even at trade price, to buy that product, to then do a photo shoot, to even see the product. It's a big expense. So being able to do this all online is fantastic. You mentioned that you can create some auto prompts, which I think is fantastic, especially for somebody new to getting AI to create product images. What are the sort of prompts actually that you would suggest? So if we just get given a white background image of a product, what sort of prompts would you suggest to create real, lifestyle image using that product?
So I think the challenge is it really depends per category and per individual product. So the way these AI models are trained, it's a real black box into what words are going to get the best, most visual output. I'd say what you want to try and get is the product in its natural scenario, so the customer can kind of see, okay, this is a coffee. Here it is, like in a kitchen counter or on a cafe, in a table on a cafe, or something which just kind of illustrates the product, or so they can kind of understand what it looks like. And I also feel that there's a big jump when you don't have an image versus when you do have a lifestyle image, because it kind of, there's a question of like trust and like what is this thing that I'm purchasing, which has got like one image on it, like that kind of looks a bit dodgy, right? So it enhances trust. It makes the customers like imagine themselves using the product, which increases conversion. In terms of the prompting, so we did a study. So we kind of analyzed like hundreds of thousands of our customers' prompts. We had 15 students from the University of Toronto label them. So they would label customer. This wasn't before we launched auto prompting. They would customer, put in the prompt, generate an image, right? And we literally labeled hundreds of thousands of these, like how accurate was the prompt to the output on the scale of 1 to 10, and how like visually appealing, which is, I guess, like we set some rules, but like it is very kind of like personal, but like how visually appealing is this on a scale of 1 to 10? So for example, we'd say like a 9 or above, it'd be like a, New York Times Square billboard quality. Like that's something that you can see there. Like a 7 would be, like it's a Shopify listing. Maybe a 5 would be like, this could be a post on Instagram, but you wouldn't want to have it permanent. And then below a 5 was like this, you will want to use this basically. So we did a lot of data labeling on the prompts, on how accurate it was able to be, and then the quality. And that's basically the data that we use to train the auto prompting model so that people could get the best prompts. Now, there are, and I imagine kind of dropshipper entrepreneurs, they're probably using Midjourney a lot. There are people who are just fantastic at this and will be able to kind of, on their own product, iterate themselves. Like, they'll put a prompt in, they'll work out what's working, what isn't, they'll do another one, and then suddenly, like, you'll be the expert in your area better than what we've done, because we've only done 100,000, right? And could not even, it might not be in your category. So I think it is better for individuals to, individuals who are comfortable, they'll be able to kind of really find better stuff, I would imagine, than the auto prompting. But like, it's a good guide. It gives, in our metrics, it gives it like a 7. It gives it like a 7 and an 8 every time. So it's kind of like you come into the tool, you click generate, you see an image which like you could use. Like you might not want to use it because maybe you had like a different ethnicity of person that you imagined in there, or you wanted it to be in like, I don't know, like a specific setting, like with like a Japanese mountain in the background. Like we wouldn't do that ourselves because like we just do so standard. So you can then kind of play with it beyond that, but it gives you a good starting point.
Fantastic. Yeah, it's an exciting software because a lot of the stores that we have, we get given the white product photos or the white backgrounds, and then there's nothing that differentiates each different retailer that's selling the same sort of products. So if we can, really get into this and enhance our product images using the tools that we've got available to us now, it's a real clear way of differentiating yourself from the different products that you see across the road. In terms of, like, I want to know sort of what's been most successful for, I guess, the stores or the retailers that you've seen use these prompts before. What type of images, can you give us a bit of an insight? What type of images, copy or infographics you think that would work really well?
So we've kind of been working out what works best. And I think broadly what you want is ideally 2 lifestyle images of the product looking hyper-realistic setting, be it in its natural environment. You then want an infographic which has the 5 benefits, these 5 benefits of our product. If like something like supporting UK business, blah, 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 if you're UK or wherever you are in your domestic market, if you can do that, that definitely helps as well. And you kind of want to, help the customer to understand, like, what is, like, very quickly, like, looking at one picture, what does it do? How do they use it? Blah, blah, blah. Then dimensions infographics are important. We generate these as well. So, like, how big is it? And you want to have, like, the lines and, which is explaining where the lines, the ruler lines are kind of next to the product. You can see how big it is. That's an important one. And then one that I know we're recording this ahead, one we're working on now, which could be live then, maybe not, is kind of the competition. So, like, our newest innovation we're working on is kind of AI generating a generic version of a product next to your product, and then being like, this is good, tick, 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 3 reasons why generic is bad, cross. So we're that's currently in development. When people listen to it, maybe they'll be able to see that one or not.
I mean, things move so fast, don't they, with the startup sort of early onset business that you've got there, and AI, you can push things out quickly. So, yeah, it's a constantly changing landscape. So, no, thank you. Some really good insights there about how we can really optimize our product pages. I'm keen to dig in a little bit as well about listing. So you mentioned that you can increase the listing speed of new products in Shopify. Is that something that you can offer as well?
Yeah, so we basically integrate with the store. So we integrate with the Shopify store. We also integrate with other platforms. So we integrate with Amazon, we integrate with eBay. You can use our flat file. So we basically enable people to publish from one source to another source. So, I know we're talking about Shopify, but, like, if you were to be moving from Excel to Shopify or, Amazon, like, if you were moving from one place to another place, AI is a great use case for this, because actually it's not as simple as cut and paste. I'll give you an example. On Amazon, Amazon doesn't use Google SEO. Like, it's important, but fundamentally, like, Amazon have their own API and keywords. Like, something like 80% of Amazon searches start on Amazon. So, like, you want to definitely on Amazon be firstly and foremost optimizing for the Amazon search, right? Like, Google search is important, but it's a definite second. Not true on Shopify. Like, you want to be on Google. So, like, moving them across is there's different character lengths. So on eBay, the characters are 80. On Amazon, it's 250 for the titles I'm talking about. So, like, there's different formats of different needs. And our tool helps you to move from one.
I see. It's, if we want to expand the marketplaces that we're selling on,
yep,
it's an instant, here we go, here's the products on Shopify, put them across different marketplaces if we're able to do that with the suppliers that we have signed. In terms of then Shopify, specifically store owners of Shopify, and thinking about the copy now that we have on a Shopify product page, say we get given what usually happens is suppliers will give us their product descriptions that aren't particularly optimized. They're just a basic description. How would we be able to enhance that, and what types of things would you include in? I know you mentioned it's quite SEO focused, but also in terms of structuring, perhaps in terms of the getting the features across. How can we really think about optimizing the copy that we have on a product page?
So I think the basic format that we think is best is to have a mix of kind of like bullet points or features and then a description. Description is more kind of emotive and descriptive, whereas a bullet points like bang, bang, bang. Here are the key things that you're getting. The bullets probably will look kind of similar to what you have in your infographic, but if the infographic obviously is on an image, you really have a sentence maybe you have 2 or 3 sentences on each bullet point. So it goes into a little bit more detail than the one you have on the image. And then the description kind of like summarizes the whole product. As I said, like it's mainly the SEO game that you're trying to play in my opinion, and from what we've seen. But we do follow that kind of structure as well.
It's an interesting approach because if your product images and your infographics say so much already, I guess then your product description acts as more of, here are the bullet points. These are the reasons how your life is going to change with the product. And beyond that, it's about getting the keywords in so that your products rank high on Google, and then you get more eyes onto those images and onto those infographics. So we love hearing about success stories. I'm keen to hear, I know you're sort of early stages still, but have you got any success stories of businesses that you can share that have used ecomtent and AI yet?
Well, I mean, we're early stages well, we've been around for 2 years. So I mean, like define early stages, but we've got a number of case studies on the website. I guess 2 come to mind. Firstly, there's one on there about just the money saved. I mean, it's kind of it's a very obvious point, right? But I think it's the lady who's selling kind of like knitted dress wear and like beachwear. Basically, did like you can see on the website, like all of these beautiful photo shoots, like on sunset beaches, without kind of leaving Milton Keynes, wherever she is, right? So that is a really obvious one. You're saving thousands, tens of thousands, like, you know, you're saving a lot of money in terms of the photo shoots. And if you're selling something with lots of variation, you know, if you're selling like 15 lines or 20 lines or more, right, and you've got you want different ethnicities and models and everything, like, that's a bit of a pain, number one. There's also plenty on there about conversion. So there's some very large companies there about, like, a little bit off topic, but kind of like using these images for Instagram as well, and like the driving like increased profile visits and traffic to the website. There's one on there where like our lifestyle images drove 4.5 times more profile visit, and that kind of is, you know, is showing just like how much more interesting like a AI generated lifestyle images than kind of stuff that is shot in your bedroom or whatever. And there's also a third one there about conversion, and I from memory it's like 88% of customers. We did like some split testing on some customer stuff, and 88% of customers preferred like the stuff that we created. So yeah, there's a handful. We've got more on our website as well.
Fantastic. Yeah, I love hearing about that. It's inspiring to hear about what others have done. And I think it falls into those categories you mentioned before. Using AI, it's about speed and scale together. So not only can you create something that's bigger and better, you can also do it quicker with less work and money as well, in terms of having to hire people for photo shoots. We're all about it on this channel, about growing big e-commerce businesses without being completely tied to them. You know, it's about having a lifestyle business. So I think having an AI tool that improves your product pages, improves your images and infographics is going to be a big win. So for anyone that's keen to learn more about ecomtent, Max, and your tool specifically, how can they learn more about your offering?
Well, I'm on LinkedIn as Max Sinclair, on Twitter as Max Sinclair 4. I guess just www.ecomtent.ai, you have all of the case studies, you have all of the everything else that you would need there, YouTube demos, everything. So I don't know, maybe that'll be linked in the notes. I don't know, but that's where they can go.
Fantastic. Absolutely. All your links will be linked in the description below. So thank you, Max, for sharing that and shedding some light on the AI-driven future of e-commerce. And for those looking to stay ahead in the game of e-commerce, checking out ecomtent might just be your next best move. Thank you very much. Thank you, Max, for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you, James. Good to talk to you.
Well, Lewis, that was a deep dive into how AI is transforming the landscape of e-commerce, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, James. I mean, Max really opened our eyes to the power of automation and AI in not just simplifying operations, but truly enhancing the customer experience and boosting conversions as well.
It's fascinating to see how AI can take so much of the heavy lifting out of e-commerce. That's your product catalog and also optimizing descriptions and images. So the insights, I think, today on product listing, optimization, and staying competitive were invaluable.
Yeah, that's why alongside exploring these cutting-edge AI tools like ecomtent, grounding your strategy in solid foundations is really crucial. Now, for those looking to blend these innovative AI strategies with some proven e-commerce principles, my book, The Home Turf Advantage, provides a comprehensive guide to it all. Visit htabook.com to get started. Max has shown us the future, but it's built on the principles that have always driven e-commerce success.
Enjoying the podcast? We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment or a review, and we might just feature it on an upcoming episode. Also, for detailed show notes and resources, head to dropshipunlocked.com/podcast.
If you found value from any episode of this podcast, please take just 10 seconds to leave us a quick 5-star review on your podcast app of choice. It helps us more than you could imagine, and who knows, you might just hear your comments on the show. Thanks for being part of our community. Your support helps us keep delivering a new episode every week.
Now, let's answer a question that we've had in from a listener of the podcast. And this question has come in through a comment under the YouTube video version of a recent episode. So if you want your questions answered, you can do the same. So this question, Lewis, which I'll ask to you now, they've asked, can I build a dropshipping business while living outside of the UK? Can I just contact suppliers by email?
Interesting. Well, thank you for the question. So absolutely, you can certainly manage a high-ticket dropshipping business from anywhere in the world. I mean, the key is ensuring that your suppliers and customers are in the same region. That's what makes this work with the Home Turf Advantage. So like in the UK, if you're going to do it in the UK, make sure your suppliers and customers are in the UK and that you do your research around the UK market to set it all up here. And you can really use that to then capitalize on the Home Turf Advantage model. So while contacting suppliers via email might seem convenient, it might be tempting, it might feel like a nice, easy way to do it, and you might sign some, nothing beats the effectiveness and trust and rapport that can emerge from either a direct phone call or even a face-to-face meeting with suppliers eventually. It just fosters that trust and that rapport and that bond, and it allows you to connect with the right person at the company more efficiently, and it brings you to the top of the pile of retailers that they might have reaching out to them asking if they can sell their products. So direct communication is not just about convenience. It's not just, oh, well, I can email them, so therefore I should, but it's about building that relationship, explaining to them why you're a trustworthy partner, why you're a new revenue stream for them, and why you're going to look after the reputation of their brand. Speaking with suppliers on the phone can often lead to better negotiation outcomes, better margins, better exclusivity rights, things like that, and just quicker resolutions to any queries or issues that might emerge down the line. So you can absolutely do it from outside the UK, but if you do, I'd still recommend trying to do it by phone if you can.
Fantastic. Thank you, Lewis. And a great question there for anyone thinking of starting, even if you're outside of the UK. So we're going to highlight as well a review that we've had for the podcast recently. So a big thank you to Rideco for the YouTube comment, and they've said, your clear explanations, step-by-step guidance, and effective methods are truly enlightening. It's incredibly refreshing to see someone from the UK sharing such valuable knowledge and skills. Keep up the amazing work.
Wow, thank you so much for the review. That really does mean a lot, and we really appreciate it. Now, we know that WhatsApp is the most common method of sharing these podcast episodes. We can see it on the back-end statistics on our dashboard. So perhaps there's one person that you know who might just be interested in running their own online business. The biggest single thing that you can do to help them could be to share this episode with them on WhatsApp. It takes you just about 10 seconds, and the best part is that they'll then have you to thank for their success.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Dropship Unlocked podcast. We hope you're walking away with insights and inspiration.
To kickstart your e-commerce journey, grab a copy of my book, The Home Turf Advantage, at htabook.com. It's a distilled guide based on real experience to help you build your e-commerce venture.
Don't forget to hit the subscribe button for more strategies and success stories. And if you like what you heard, a 5-star review would mean the world to us, and you might just get a shout out on an upcoming episode.
And finally, thank you for deciding to spend your time with us today. We can't wait to bring you more insights on the next episode of the Dropship Unlocked podcast.